In the summer of 2012, I needed a new prescription for my glasses. At least that's what I thought. And I'm sitting there at the Georgia Eye Institute with Dr. Beisel, my eye doctor, and he said, "I think you have MS." I don't know what happened to me in that moment, but I completely left my body. It was as if I was floating above myself. Um, I was shuffled up to the second floor to now see a special eye doctor. And I just remember this feeling as if I was a hollow tree. Um, there wasn't much going on physically with my body. I didn't know what to do with this statement that I think you have MS. Um, that special eye doctor, Dr. Ray, um, set me up to get an MRI later that night. And I think that's when the physical sensations throughout my body started registering. This feeling of spinning, and like I was on that ride at the fair, the Gravitron. And it occurred to me that I had had an ear infection earlier that month in my left ear, and it was my left eye. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, this is connected. This is just one misunderstanding. Um, and so I held on to that. And that following week, I was now at a neurologist, Dr. Carter, and she was sitting there with my husband and I, and, my MRI up on the screen, and she's tapping and pointing out these parts in my brain. And those taps, though, felt like it was right there on my chest, like in my heart. Um, Pointing out all of the lesions that are sitting in my head. And I think she realized that no one had, communicated to me, this isn't, I think you have MS. This is, you have MS. And so she confirmed the diagnosis, and I knew very quickly I needed to have things to hold on to. I needed to find ways in which I could regain a sense of self and agency about my life. And so I learned transcendental meditation. I learned about the paleo diet. I learned that massage therapy is really good for the body and people with MS. And so I was getting those every week. And then I found a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and made an appointment with her. And it was walking into her office there in Savannah, on the website, it said, look for a secret red door. And I was like, oh, yes, secret door, sign me up. And when I entered into her office, I knew immediately I had found someone that was going to be able to help me on this journey that I have found myself on. And so Fawn had so many great ideas and ways in which we could work together to slow down the progression of MS. And one of those suggestions was Feng Shui. Never heard about it before, had no idea what Feng Shui was all about. But at that time, I was saying yes to everything. And so I booked an appointment with her to have a first extensive lesson. And I remember coming home after that session, and my takeaway was I needed to disinfect my house. I proceeded to get a bucket of water, pour some bleach, got my stepladder out, and started at the ceiling and worked my way down to the floor, every inch of my house. And in that process of wiping my walls down, it felt like it was the first time in a long time that I had some say in my life again. And so I just want to say, though, wiping your walls down with water and bleach have nothing to do with feng shui. But that's what I needed in that moment. And so I proceeded to work with Fawn in consuming as much information and understanding of feng shui as possible. And so fast forward 14 years of being on this journey, my home being the laboratory of all of the things that I've learned over the years about feng shui. And what I have found over the course of those 14 years is that the practice of feng shui in my life has allowed the ability to feel safe and secure again within myself because of how I've been working with my home. And so I wanted to share that story. And by the way, I'm Athena, the founder of Home and Flow. And I hope you have a moment to check out my full story that I wrote and will link to below in the description.